Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The national vaccination drive has also kicked off in Mindanao. To give us the latest on this, we now have Jem Avancenia. She's reporting to us live from Davao City. Jem, good morning. Could you tell us how many vaccination sites have been opened in Davao City for this vaccination drive?
Charles, for Davao City, the LGU has 27 vaccination sites for the 3-day national event, and these are all open for walk-in clients. Charles?
Could you tell us how many individuals in Davao City, per se, are targeted for vaccinations between now and December 1?
Charles, according to Dr. Josephine Villafuerte, their target is more than 147,000 individuals, and that would be around 49,000 jobs per day. Charles?
All right, Jem, have we heard of any challenges or any logistical challenges or any shortage in syringes or manpower thus far?
Charles, according to Dr. Villafuerte, they have sufficient supply of vaccines here in Davao City, and they have also enough manpower on every vaccination site. So logistics would not be a problem for the 3-day event here in Davao City. Charles?
Okay, Jem, that being said, there is enough supply over there. Do we know what specific vaccine brands are to be made available?
Charles, here in People's Park, which is one of the biggest vaccination site here in Davao City, the vaccinees could choose whatever brand they want, and the available vaccines here are Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, and Sinovac. Charles?
All right, Jem, I am seeing a bit of a crowd gathering there behind you. How long is the typical waiting time for people to get vaccinated?
Charles, we talked to some vaccinees and they said to us that it only took them 2 hours before getting vaccinated, since there are enough manpower accommodating them here in the People's Park. And they were also thankful of the free snacks and water the LGU provided for them. Charles?
Thanks for that, Jem. That was Jem Avancenia reporting to us live from Davao City. The COVID reproduction rate in the Philippines has slid down to 0.34. As a result, the Philippines is now averaging less than 1,000 new cases per day, as predicted by the Octa Research Group. The average daily attack rate is also now less than 1 per day per 1,000 population, and this is considered low. So Octa says the country is already at low risk based on the average daily attack rate. Though there isn't enough information yet on the new Omicron variant, an infectious disease expert says it is unlikely to be fully resistant to vaccines. Speaking with Radio 5's Filon, Dr. Edsel Salvania says vaccines may still provide some level of protection against this new variant of concern. He stressed, however, that scientists have yet to confirm just how transmissible this variant is, or whether it causes severe COVID-19. Salvania also clarified that experts are still studying the extent by which vaccines can protect people against this highly mutated variant.
Maaaring walang epekto or mild lang yung effect, or pwedeng medyo significant yung epekto. Pero I don't think, actually, yung mga dalubhasa, we don't think naman na magiging zero bigla yung vaccines and magiging mataas pa rin to a certain level yung protection against severe disease.
The Bureau of Quarantine says there are no more countries or jurisdictions under the green list category. That's to prevent the entry of the Omicron variant in the Philippines. In an interview with Agenda, BOQ Deputy Director Roberto Salvador said all bound travelers will be subjected to quarantine and testing, but this will still depend on their vaccination status upon arrival.
If the passenger po is fully vaccinated and merong RT-PCR test 72 hours before dumating sa Pilipinas, 3 days po ang mandatory quarantine and magte-test sila on the 3rd day. Pag naman po walang RT-PCR test, 5th day po ang RT-PCR test and quarantine, and pagka unvaccinated po, 7 days po. Kaya sila tinetest po.
Meanwhile, NITAG member Consortia Lim Quizon praised the early discovery and action over this new COVID-19 variant. As of now, Lim Quizon says that all COVID-19 vaccines still work. But she explained that Omicron may impact the efficacy of existing COVID-19 vaccines if its behavior proves to be different from the original virus. The expert also calls for heightened surveillance to prevent the immediate entry of the Omicron variant to a country.
Kailangan vigilant tayo na maka-identify din na sa ganon, alam ko saan na nga ba nagpupunta ang mga yan. Hopefully wala pa. Okay? Pero as I said kanina, maliit na ang daigdig natin because of travel. So it's not, I wouldn't be surprised kung meron makakalusot. Pero sana hanggat maari, wala muna. At mangyayari lang yan kung vigilant tayo sa ating surveillance system.
We'll be back with more stories after a quick break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The government has decided to drop their vaccination target to 9 million jabs during the 3-day national vaccine drive. But as early as now, the health department is hinting at the second round of nationwide inoculations to boost the country's vaccination rate. Patricia Mangune now joins us live from Marikina to give us the latest on this. Patricia, good morning. Could you give us the situation there so far?
Charles, the National Task Force Against COVID-19 has kicked off the 3-day massive national vaccination rollout here at the Mega Vaccination Center of Marikina City. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III graced the event together with Marikina Mayor Marcy Chodoro. Chodoro said they currently have 4 vaccination sites in the city that will administer a total of 30,000 doses for the entire 3-day drive. Minors and those who will be getting their booster shots under the A1, A2, and A3 categories will be accommodated. Walk-ins for first doses will be entertained, but only at the Marikina Elementary School. With pride, Chodoro said that 425,000 out of the 488,000 total population of Marikina have been fully vaccinated so far. Meanwhile, Secretary Duque admitted they lowered the target to 9 million jabs nationwide from the initial 15 million due to logistical shortage of syringes for the Pfizer vaccines. But he insisted that this will not affect efforts to mitigate the spread of the Omicron variant. That is why they have scheduled a second leg of the national vaccination rollout on December 15 to 17. This is expected to ramp up vaccinations to reach the goal of 54 million inoculated Filipinos by year end. As of late, there are around 45 million first dose recipients, while 35 million are fully vaccinated. Charles, Secretary Duque also reminded the public that the best antidotes to beat COVID-19 will not just be vaccines, but also adherence to the minimum public health standards. That will include wearing a face mask, face shield, and social distancing. Charles?
Thanks for that. That was Patricia Mangune reporting to us live from the Marikina Sports Complex. Here are the latest developments on the Omicron variant overseas. 13 cases of the new variant have been found in the Netherlands. The Omicron-positive individuals were among the 600 passengers who flew in from South Africa on Friday. Overall, 61 of these passengers tested positive for COVID-19. The United Kingdom, Germany, and Italy have all detected cases of the Omicron variant. 2 cases in the UK were linked to recent travel to southern Africa. And with this, Britain will implement stricter testing rules for international travelers. Meanwhile, the U.S. has already advised residents against travel to 8 South African countries. This after the White House announced new travel restrictions in response to the Omicron variant. Australia is likewise urgently testing people entering their country. This after 2 arriving passengers from South Africa tested positive for COVID-19. But authorities are still investigating whether these cases are of the Omicron variant. Here's a quick look at some of today's headlines. The 3-day national vaccination drive begins today. President Duterte is scheduled to personally visit the inoculations in Antipolo this afternoon. The government expands its red list of countries amid the threat of the Omicron variant. And despite the threat of this new variant, Israel says there's no stopping the Miss Universe competition. And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us later at 2 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.